All right, Shalom. I'd like to start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Ahchyam. Get it while it's available. Um, yeah, I got on a white T-shirt, brothers. I'm not trying to say that I'm righteous. I'm just hoping that I find graces in the sight of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, like any one of you brothers out there. But the reason why, because I didn't have a title for a lesson. Neither did I have like any set thing I was going to call it various topics or open forum. But at the last minute, I got a text from a brother, and I text him. He texts me something, I text him something back. And what I text him is, because it's going on this YouTube community thing. They're banning all supremacist content, on YouTube. And Elder Sakaran this morning sent me a video that he did based off of it on I believe it was from RT, a article that he got from RT, and he did about a 3 minute and 48 second video, almost 4 minutes long, and pretty much how YouTube is restricting and removing content that they deem inappropriate, so to speak. So prior to him sending me that, I got a notification from YouTube that fucking flies, man. I got a notification from YouTube that they had removed two of my videos. One of the videos was I believe it was the first GMS in the news I did. I forget what it was exactly. And the second one was this is why we call you the devil, usury, And pretty much that's the consensus right now. These devils are hard at work to put a lot of restrictions on what is being viewed, in social media. And pretty much what this goes back to, any of you brothers that ever saw the movie 1984, pretty much they want to control the thoughts of everybody. They want to control everybody's thoughts and everybody's movements and everything that you do, what you eat, how you think, when you go to sleep, when you get up. It's all about control, because this is a time of great deceit. So like the saying goes, in a time of great deceit, telling the truth is considered a revolutionary act. So fucking flies, man. There's one motherfucker coming through here. I may have to move from here because it's fucking satanic over here. Just trying to do a lesson, but every spot around here is kind of taken. Matter of fact, I'm gonna move over to this other spot. Just bear with me, brothers. But this is the consensus, that they're removing content out of the scriptures. I mean, out of the they've done that too, but out of the they're removing content off of YouTube because they have the ability to do so. And fucking bunch of dykes. And seeing that they have the ability to do so, they're putting restrictions on the truth, because they're not putting restrictions on booty shaking videos and bullshit ass videos that they put out there and anything that has no content. What they're doing is they're putting restrictions on, things that have substance, things that are about the truth, things that bring out the agenda of the illuminated ones, these international bankers. They also are putting restrictions mainly on this Israelite thing. This is why you got paid agents like Agent Riser, as the brother Karatazar calls him from Vegas, that does his shtick, based off of being paid off by the government. So there's all out assault on the truth, mainly of the scriptures and whatever other source it may come from, outside of the Bible, which All of that stuff is in the scriptures anyway, anything about conspiracy theories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a couple of scriptures and then go in the spirit and see what happens. Yeah, that's right. The brother Sean Moore said no restrictions on KKK and skinheads. Yeah, because, you know, who's running the restrictions? You know, those Esau, the so-called white man. So they're only going to put restrictions on, because everything that they do is based off of racism anyway. But this is the book of Isaiah 55:6. It says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. And time again, you know, the Lord stretches out his hands to Jake, you know, to come to the Father, you know, to hearken unto his voice, you know, but they don't approach to the truth. They keep pushing their hands, Lord, away. So what do you think is going to happen in the long run after the Lord gives you a certain amount of warning and you don't take heed? Well, then is going to come your demise. It's going to come your judgment, because before anything, any judgment is meted out, you have to first hear all the facts. You have to sit down. You have to hear both sides. You know, hear the facts, and then eventually, when judgment is meted out, it's because, you know, in a righteous way, when sentence was meted out, was because you heard both sides of the matter, and you judged on the side of the person that was innocent. You know, not in this society, but, you know, just in general. So right now we're going through the sentencing stage, because, you know, they have already been warned. They have already been told. You know, they have already been shown. The word is growing, and this word is a threat. And this is why, you know, these restrictions are going out, because this word is a threat. But like Elder Sakaran texted me earlier, he said it's too late. The word is already out, and that's the bottom line. The word is already out. You know, and they can't put it back in. You know, they can't put it back in the where it came out of, because this word is growing. It's that mustard seed that's growing, and it's growing so big that they can't contain it. All right, this is Hosea 5:15. It says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense. And that's true, because the Lord, after he gives his warning, he just steps back and does his thing. You know, the reason why Jake hasn't really got fully jacked up out here, really, I mean, they've been getting jacked up, but really why they haven't been dying off in big numbers is because the Most High still has a hedge. You know, he has somewhat of a hedge out there. Even though Jake gets sick, gets shot in the streets, gets shot by the cops, you know, dies of overdoses and diseases and all that stuff, and cancer and all that, there's a lot of Jakes dying. But the reason why the flood of death hasn't come through is because the Lord still has a hedge there, you know. But then once the Lord removes that hedge fully, that's when all hell is going to break loose. This is why Yahweh Shai wept, you know, when he came to Jerusalem and he saw it. And the women were crying. He said, don't weep for me, weep for yourselves, you know. Because they said, if you knew what pertains to thy peace, but now it is hidden from thine eyes. Because he saw 70 AD. He saw the slaughter that was brought upon Jake. He actually saw it in vivid, like if it was real time, because it already happened in a different dimension. So he saw it, you know. He saw them same women and men there that were older, that were still alive, dead, you know, from the persecution of the Roman soldiers. You know, it's the same thing in this time. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we see the great slaughter that's coming upon Jake in this society. And Jake is just not even taking heed, not even considering what's being said. So when the time comes, there's going to be a great slaughter. So we're at that time now where the Lord is about to pull that hedge back and allow Esau to do his thing. It says, I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. So in the affliction of Jake, that's when they're going to seek the Lord. But guess what? By that time, the Lord is not going to be found, because a lot of this content that we see now is going to be restricted. It's going to be removed. It's going to be, the settings are going to be so that you won't be able to view it in certain countries. You know, so then here it is. What did the Israelites say? What, you know what? And they're going to want to get down and understand to see, you know, what was being said and what and how to get it correct or get it right, you know, and find out how the names of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, but it's going to be too late. you know. So that's why I told Elder Yashawamba on the text. I told him, I said, yeah, man, you know, um, the thing about it is that these videos that they took down, there's no backup to them, you know. So, and that's why brothers got to get it while it's available. And then as soon as the Spirit had me write that to him, then I said, it was like, yeah, that's the title for the lesson, you know. So this is Hosea chapter 6. I'm gonna start at 4. It says, O Ephraim, what shall I do unto thee? O Judah, what shall I do unto thee? Because we're at the point now where you have the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, or should I say the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom coming back together. Beginning with Judah, the so-called Negroes, and Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. You know, this is a great awakening, and this is the Lord bringing the tribes back together. You know, and the brothers down in Mexico, Central America, and South America, they have this live thing that they got going. I'm not sure how many times a week they do it, you know, but they got a live thing to where even though brothers in Mexico or Costa Rica or Peru or Bolivia, you know, or wherever they're at, they still get on the video, Google Hangouts, and they all do a lesson in Spanish. You know, they have their turns. You know, they bring out the points that they bring out the scriptures in Spanish. You know, so the Spanish part of it is taken care of. Then you have the brothers in LA that are teaching in Spanish. They have a Spanish camp, and they also have Spanish videos that they do throughout the week, the different brothers. Then you have the brothers in Chicago. They have a Spanish camp, and they have channels that they do Spanish lessons on. You know, and Elder Sakaran and myself, we've done plenty of Spanish lessons, you know, and if the Spirit hits us, we'll do more, you know, but right now that's covered, you know, even though it's not a lot of brothers out there doing it, but it's covered, and you can see that the brothers have that spirit on them, and they teach the same way that we teach in English. So this is a higher power that's controlling all of this, what you see going on. That's why it says, O Ephraim, what shall I do unto thee? O Judah, what shall I do unto thee? Because at the end of the day, you know, I mean, the elect are going to be delivered, and the elect are going to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, whatever we do is what the Lord is going to judge us upon, you know. And this is why we do the works of Yahweh Shem Shai to the best of our ability, so that we can find good graces in His sight, get brownie points with Yahweh Shem Shai, so that the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai can deliver us once He pulls back His hedge from all of these people out here. Because you ain't seen death. You know, Jake thinks they're getting killed by the cops, and it's such a tragedy, which it is. And they're killing each other in the ghettos and in the barrios, which it's such a tragedy, which it is. But you haven't seen tragedy the way it's gonna come when the Lord takes His hedge away from Jake, you know, and allows this devil to really destroy this place, you know, and get down on Jake, man. Because what Esau is going to be coming with is the fury of the Lord, man. They're going to be coming with the fury of the Lord to punish Jake out here, the same way that it happened during the time of the ancient Roman Empire during 70 AD. That was the fury of the Lord upon Jake because they didn't listen. You know, even though that's what they're appointed to, but this is the Most High's program. So it says, for your goodness is as a morning cloud, and as an early dew it goeth away. And there's going to come a point where that goodness is going to go away, because you have to understand there is a force out here. There is a force, you know, of angels that are out here controlling, you know, what you see going on today. You know, keeping the hedge, keeping this thing from spilling over and really getting really nasty out here. But there's going to come a time when the Most High is going to withdraw that presence. And this is why we do the work that we do in the hopes that when the Lord withdraws His presence from Jake out here, He can still keep that presence upon us and protect us and guide us, you know, and keep us. Because it's going to be bad out here, man. It's going to be bad out here. Sometimes you think about it, you know, you get a little nervous, you start feeling bad, but then, you know, until you start thinking of the shit that Jake's doing, and then you're like, man, fuck them, you know? Because, you know, that compassion kicks in, but then the Spirit of the Lord kicks in, you know, where you know, you see that Jake needs this. This is something that Jake needs, because Jake ain't gonna get it together. Jake is not gonna turn from doing what they're doing. There has to be a divine supreme intervention, you know, to put in their mind something, to click in their mind something, to turn back and do what we're doing. And the only reason why we're able to do what we do and feel the way that we feel is because the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai turned that button on. You know? So we see through the bullshit. You know, we see through the madness because the Lord allowed us. Jake can't see through it because the Lord didn't allow them to. The 2/3 out here. So there's going to come a time where it's going to get really bad out here. You know? So as the morning, your goodness is going away. Goeth away as the early dew. It says, therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. And time again, over the centuries, you know, going back to the beginning, the Lord has hewed Jake, you know, with the prophets, because he said that the prophets woke B times, woke up early in the morning to do what? To prophesy. And what did Jake do? Mock them, stoned them, killed them, flayed them, burned them, whatever it was that Jake did. So guess what the Lord's going to do? He's going to mock them, burn them, flay them, destroy them, torture them. It's going to be bad out here, man. It's going to be bad, so get it while it's available. There's a precept that just came to mind. Okay. Hebrews 1:1. The Most High, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by prophets. So the Most High from the beginning of time in many different forms spoke to the fathers by the prophets. Hey, and sometimes the prophets didn't say anything. Sometimes the prophets would have to eat cow shit, you know, baked with their food. Sometimes the prophets would have to go out there and strip themselves butt naked, you know, in the front of Israel out there. You know, the prophets went through a lot of shame, man. Through a lot of shame. And not because they did anything wicked, but because that was the Spirit of the Lord upon them to do these things. You know, having to lay on their side for a certain period of days and lay on the other side and have a certain amount of food to eat because of the siege and different things of that nature. It's the same thing today. So the Lord has hewed Jake and has spoken to Jake in diverse manners in the past by the prophets. It says, going back to Hosea 6:5, therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. You know, when you hew something down, like you see that tree right there, right behind me. In order for you to hew that tree, you got to take an axe and go to it. Now there's another tree over here. Let me spare you the lewdness that's going on over there with them damn dikes. You see, there's another tree over here. As you can see, straight ahead, that big tree right there. You know, if you wanted to get that tree down, you got to hack at it at the bottom down there, and eventually, what happens? It's gonna fall. You know, and that's what the Lord did. He hewed the Israel by the prophets, and he's still hewing them by the prophets. You know, he's still hewing them by the prophets. Therefore, I have hewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. So right now, it's just a verbal warning. But pretty soon, it's going to start to really get more intense and be physical, but not just be physical, be more intense. It says, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. See? And the judgments of the Lord, they go forth as the light. As you see as daylight out here, the judgments of the Lord go forth continuously. Let's go real quick to the book of Zephaniah 3:5. It says, the just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. And every morning, you best believe there's something that's going on in the world where the Lord is causing some type of judgment that he spoke of in the scriptures to come to pass. It says, but he said he faileth not. So the Lord doesn't fail, because it said no one of these shall fail. None of the prophecies that the Lord spoke are going to fail. Jacob's trouble is coming, and it's not going to fail. You know, the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, is coming. It's not going to fail. World War III is coming. It's not going to fail. Armageddon is coming. It's not going to fail. All the prophecies that the Lord spoke of, the famine, the concentration camps, you know, the distress that's going to be upon out here in these streets, you know, the race wars, you know, everything, the despair that's going to come upon Jake when they finally realize that they have no hope, that there's nowhere for them to get food to eat, nowhere to feed their children. It's going to get real out here, man. It's going to get real. And that's when Jake wants to get it together. Like you had a couple of times, I'm not sure, I know with Snoop Dogg, when he was charged with murder, what happened? You know, he was going I was about to say he was going to church. He was going to court with that big ass Bible. You know, now they want to get close to the Most High when perils are upon them. You know, when they see that things are not going their way, in their favor, and they're good. That's when Jake wants to get it together. But you know, the time to get together, is now, and them doors of mercy are damn near shut. You know, it ain't just closing; it's damn near shut. It's almost to the point where it's shut and the lock is about to be turned on it. You know, like when you get home, you know, and you open the door and you go inside, and as soon as you go inside, you shut the door and you lock it, and you ain't thinking about that door no more. You know, unless you got to go back out. That's how close the doors of mercy of being shut are. And you can see it from the things that are going on in the world. And this thing with YouTube right now, this community strike and banning videos and taking videos out, that's just more restriction upon the truth. Or they're trying to restrict it because the truth is already out. You can't restrict the truth. But they're so demonic in their mind, they think they can stop it by paying people off and by shutting down social medias in different ways to propagate this truth or restrict it, like they did in the movie 1984. And I would like to see that movie again. I mean, I've seen it many times, but I would like to see it again, because you see the dystopian society that these devils want. Men can't touch women. You know, you just robots. You just robots. You know, that's the type of world that they want. They want obedient servants, and this is why they want to chip everybody. That's the mark of the beast, because they want to be able to track everybody. It's not a coincidence that everything that they do, you know, as far as payment is concerned, as far as moving from point A to point B, is all being converted to biometrics. Because once you convert everything to biometrics, all you gotta do is put the chip in, and the chip has everything in it that they need. You see? So, going back to Hosea 5:5, I read that again. Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets, I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. For I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings. But Jake don't want to take heed to the knowledge of the Lord. You know, matter of fact, let's go from there to the book of Micah. Micah, the 6th chapter. Just bear with me 1 second. Micah, the 6th chapter and the 8th verse. He hath shown thee, O man, what is good. You see? So the Lord has shown us what is good. And if you didn't read the Bible yourself, you have the prophets out here that's telling you what's good, you know, and acceptable in the sight of the Lord. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that scripture also. It's called multitasking through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ahchyam Yahushai. Just bear with me 1 second. There's one, I know it's in the New Testament. I'm not sure if it's Peter. Let me check one real quick. Let me just check something real quick. Let me see if this is the one. I'm not sure if it's First Peter, the 4th chapter, or somewhere. Boy, oh boy. Or is it the 5th chapter? I mean, I can't find it right now, but you know, you brothers, I mean, I can't think of the exact wording, but something along the lines of being acceptable, you know, doing the things that are acceptable in the sight of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Okay, so now let's go, squirrels. Now let's go from there again back to Micah 6 and 8. He hath showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy power. And that's it. The Most High doesn't ask for much, you know. But the thing about it is, Jake has that out here in the world. They have that whorish spirit. And what I mean by whorish spirit, not necessarily, I mean that, you know, sexual too, but also as far as spiritual. You know, laying down with all different types of philosophies, you know, doing whatever they want to do. They think they belong to themselves. You don't belong to yourself, man. You are the people of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. The Lord stamped you with Yasha Allah. He is the Prince of the power. You belong to the Most High. You are the sons and the daughters of the Most High. But you want to do what you want to do, because that's what your lover, the so-called white man, the Edomites, taught you. Let's go real quick to 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. The Most High is about, you know, he's gonna call in, you know, he's gonna call in the debts. You know, debts have to be paid to the Lord. He's calling them in, you know, and we hope that we have sufficient in our spiritual bank account to cover, you know, which it's already been covered by Yahushai, you know, but I mean, we hope that we have enough in our account, spiritual account, to find good graces in the sight of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai when the time comes. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And, I'm sorry, not 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Bear with me 1 second. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19. What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which you have of the Most High, and you are not your own? So we don't belong to ourselves. You know, we belong to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. The Lord chose us as an inheritance to him. Read all throughout the scriptures how the Lord chose Jacob to be his inheritance. So if he chose us to be his inheritance, and he gave us a guideline on how to conduct ourselves, then we should follow that guideline to the best of our ability. But Jake, because they want to be wicked, they won't follow the guideline. You know, you'll hear them, you know, I can't give up pork. I give everything else up, but I can't give up no pork. Oh no, you know. They can't give up, some people can't give up being adulterers. Some women can't give up being whores. You know, now there will be harlots that will be saved, you know, because you have some women out there that do what they do because that's the only means that they have, you know, to support themselves. You know, they don't really have an education. You know, they don't really have, you know, the ability to do certain things, you know. So they use their body as a means to pay for their way, you know. But in their heart they're sincere, and if there was another way, they would turn from that, you know. And this is why Yahushua said that the harlots and the public is going to the kingdom first, you know, because you do have some women out there that do that are really sincere, that if they had another option they would do it, but they don't, you know. And that's the difference between a person's intentions and their heart, because you have some women out there that like to get paid, plus they like to have sex. So what better way to get money than to have sex, you know? But some of these women that do that, they don't want to do that, you know. But this is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. So let's hear what the conclusion of this whole matter is, in order for us to find good graces in the sight of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It says, fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. You know, because you have to tremble at the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You have to tremble at the thought of the Lord judging us, man. We have to tremble at that thought, man. You know, the Lord judging us and bugging us out like the examples that we see. You know, yeah, man. They're just the only ones that are exempt from that are the elect. You know, it's a fearful thing. Let's see if there's any more. Let's go back to Hosea 6:6. For I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings. But they, like men, have transgressed the covenant. There have they dealt treacherously against me. See? So they have Jake has transgressed the covenant, and they've dealt treacherously against the Most High. So guess what? Now the Lord is going to pull the hedge away fully, and you're going to be left out there naked. This is why it speaks about, let's go to Revelation 16. This is the book of Revelation chapter 16, verse 15. It says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So what is, right, like right now, that this individual, Malak Shah, right, the people are seeing his shame. He's walking naked. He doesn't have his garment on. But in his mind, he thinks he does. So what is the garment? The garment is this knowledge, this truth. You know, that is the garment. You know? And how do we keep it on? By continually teaching. You know, continually doing the work of the Lord. And those out there that are just helps, continuing to help in whatever fashion the Spirit blessed you with. You know, the women that are wondering what should they do, you know, to put in their portion. Well, if you have a man, you know, do right by your man. You know, don't cheat on your man. Don't commit adultery on your man. Don't do things that are against the law. You know, and that will be your salvation. You know, and brothers out there that are not teachers, you know, but they're helps, then do that. Be helps. Do whatever the Lord gave you to do, and exalt that gift that the Lord gave you. Because the Lord gave each and every one of us a gift. You know, we are to exalt that gift. Did not the Apostle Paul say, I magnify mine office? So we have to magnify our office also. All right. So now let's go back. Now let's go from there to the book of. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And the time is coming where it's going to be evident out here. You know, matter of fact, let's go to the Apocrypha. Another scripture just came into mind. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, which we do all the time through the Spirit. And I'll start at 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. And Jake, boy, there's going to be a serious slaughter out here of Jake, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And I saw a thumbnail. I didn't get a chance to see the video, but brother put out that there's a lot of Gadite women that are being put to death now. You know, this is the judgment of the Lord. Because from what I understand, you know, them Gadite women, they'll be on the res and they'll go to these different bars and have sex with Esau, you know, for money. You know? Now, if they're doing it to feed their family or whatever the case is, that's one thing. But some of them are just doing it just to be doing it. You know? And the Lord is bringing judgment, man. Because none of the children of Israel are exempt except if they be the elect. You know? It says, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. That's dealing with these different troops, these police. You see how these police are now? These police they're you can see that they're possessed. These police are possessed with evil spirits, man. You can't talk to a cop today. You know? Them devils are in a rage. You know, they probably ain't get no sex last night or whatever the case is, or just or they might be having a good day and still be satanic as hell. And when you see these cops when they're killing Jake, you know, you could see that they're possessed. Cause somebody in their right mind, if they're not possessed, if you hear somebody saying I can't breathe, you're gonna, okay, I got this person is subdued because they can't breathe, you know, and they'll have them hog tie everything, and they'll still beat them and kick them and knee them because them cops are a bunch of homos, man. It ain't enough that they got the guy, you know, and they got him cuffed up. They got to keep beating him and shoot him and kill him. But you know what? That's the judgment of the Lord, because they're gonna be like madmen, and that's just like a small. That's child's play compared to when these troops start rolling up and through Jake's neighborhoods, man. And there'd be a mass slaughter of Israelites out here. This is just a small, you know, that's just a small little, example of what's going to go down. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. It says, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen. Why? Because the elect of the Lord will not be affected by these things. Because the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai will still keep his hedge around them. It says, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. But they still have to go through that purification. When in the book of Zechariah, the 1/3 they got to go through the fire. They got to go through that purification and that purging process, you know, and that's a part of the deliverance, because it's what the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai set up. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 32. It says, I'm sorry, not 14:32. The book of 1 Corinthians 11:32. My bad. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world, because this world is condemned. That's why the scripture says, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, because the world is condemned, but the ones that the Lord loves, he's chastening them. Why? Like I use this reference sometimes, you know, the movie Boys in the Hood. You know, the character that Ice Cube played and Morris Chestnut played, they didn't have their father there. It was just their mother, you know. But then Cuba Gooding Jr. had his father, Lawrence Fishburne, there to give him chores, you know, to give him responsibility, to teach him how to be a man. And what happened? The mother two, they perished, and him, you know, he made it through because he had the proper guidance. So when the Lord chastens us, because those chores that his father gave him and the responsibilities and different things, that was like a chastening. And if he went off, I'm sure he would have whooped his ass. But it was all for a correction, to keep him in walking on the right path, you know. And that's what the Lord is doing to us. He's chastening us. He's beating our ass. You know, we get mad, but afterwards you see the fruit of it, you know. And the fruit of it is what is more what's the word I'm looking for? The fruit of it is more beneficial, or more I can't, it's a word that's evading me, but then the, you know, it's better, I said that it's better than the chastening, or something along the line. It's not the word I really want to use, but in other words, the chastening has to happen to get us there, but the fruit of the after the chastisement is what is the benefit that when all hell breaks loose, you know, you'll be glad that you went through, you know, we'll be glad that we went through the chastening. All right. So now let's go from there to the book of Proverbs, and we'll close it out here in the book of Proverbs, the first chapter. I'll start at the 20th verse. It says, wisdom crieth without, she uttereth her voice in the streets. And the wisdom has been crying out and uttering her voice in the streets. It's been doing that for the longest, you know, even before the YouTube era, going back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, you know, to 2007 when YouTube, 2006, 2007, you know, when YouTube started becoming really popular, or started becoming popular, you know, and now what you have today with the social media and the word all over the place, you know. It says, she crieth in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates. So when you go out in the streets, which is what we're supposed to do for the Lord, this is the Lord's work. You know, when we go out there and we preach on the streets, wisdom is crying out constantly. And there's all type of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, all kind of nuggets that are being dished out. All different type of savory spiritual meals that are being dished out there. Different spiced rum and different exotic wines, you know, and strong drinks that are being dished out there. But Jake is just knocking it away. For what? For junk food. You know, the cares of this world. You know, the philosophies of this world. Plantation Christianity. You know, GMO spiritual foods. You know, it says, in the opening of the gates, in the city, she uttereth a word saying. So when we're out there, our main purpose of being out there is to prophesy and to tell Jake where they're going off, to get themselves together, because if they don't get themselves together, what's going to happen? They're going to be destroyed. And there will be a floodgate open of death in America and around the world, man. And Jake is going to be left out there, man, with their ass hanging out in the air. You know, because the Lord is going to pull that hedge back fully, man. He's going to pull that hedge back fully. It says, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? So this is what we're saying. Because doesn't it say, cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Israel their sins? So that's it. You know, how long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? How long are you going to love being in the plantation Christianity? How long are you going to love being in the black unconscious movement? How long are you going to love being a Baptist, a Jehovah Witness, a Roman Catholic, you know, a Buddhist, into Hinduism? And these are all things that Jake is doing because they don't have a hedge. You know, they don't have a spiritual hedge that's guiding them to the right, to the waters, to the proper waters to drink. So they're drinking contaminated water when they go into these different philosophies. That's what the scriptures say, drink waters out of thine own cisterns. And this is the waters of that own cistern. And Yahushua said, he that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. And this is living waters. And this is why when the Spirit hits you, when the Spirit hits us, it's the water course is beautiful, you know. But then other times it's like almost like you don't know shit. But then when that Spirit hits you and it brings that proper understanding, you know, you're able to see through everything. You know, it's like that water that flows downhill instead of having to flow uphill. Because you have a harder time flowing uphill than you do flowing downstream. So this is how this water's out there, you know. But Jake wants to drink that dirty water, that contaminated water, you know, that Flint water they want to drink. Inside joke. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? And that's the thing, man. That's what the scriptures say. If you teach a fool will hate you. Teach a wise man, and the wise man will love thee. You know, that's why it says, cast not your pearls before swine. Because swine are not going to take this truth sincerely. You know, it's like you have this bad bracelet, right, that you made. It has emeralds, it has pearls in it, it has gold and with silver linings, you know. It has a couple of other precious stones on it, you know. And I mean, it's beautiful. But you take that, right, and you put it on a wrist, you know, it's gonna say things, you know. It's gonna be a conversation piece. But you take that same piece and you put it on the snout of a pig, it's gonna be like, ugh, you know, no matter how nice that bracelet is, because it's on the snout of a pig, you know. So this is what this is what Jake is likened to, you know. That's why it says, cast not your pearls before swine, because they have, you know, the philosophies of this world, And the philosophies of this world are dirty before this Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, turn you at my reproof. And the Lord is reproving Jake, but they're not taking heed. You brothers out there that grew up with your father or or with your moms, they keep telling, I'm telling you, better get yourself together. I'm about to bust your ass. That's I'm down to my last warning. And then what happens after the last warning? Jake keeps on seeing how far they can go. And then when it comes time for the ass whipping, no, okay, I'll do. It's too late now. You done pressed the wrong button, baby. You done pressed the wrong button. You were given warning, and you kept pressing buttons. You kept trying your luck. Well, guess what? Now your luck is run out. So it says, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you, because I have called and you refused. See? So the Lord is calling you. You're refusing. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But you have set at naught all my counsel. So when the prophets are out there speaking and telling you what's coming, you set at nothing the Heavenly Father's counsel. Because the Most High himself is not going to come down here and speak to you. He did that once already. It didn't turn out good. So now he has his prophets down here speaking, which are the mediator between Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and the rest of Israel. Yahweh Shai is the mediator between the Most High and Israel, but then you have the prophets down here that are ambassadors of Yahweh Shai, that are speaking the words of Yahweh Shai, that are the words of Yahweh, so you could understand, so nobody gets stupid. But you have set at naught all my counsel and with none of my reproof. So you don't want the reproof of the Lord. And the reason for the reproof is for what? To better yourself. Because back in before we read on, back in Ecclesiastes where we were at, King Solomon was given reproof or correction to his son Rehoboam. It says here, Ecclesiastes 12:12, and further by these, my son, be admonished or be corrected. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So we can't be getting into all these different books out here, studying these different books, because you'll go crazy. And it's a weariness of the flesh. It'll break you down, actually make you sick. There's people that have been so engulfed in their work that actually became sick and died, because they didn't take care of themselves. They didn't take care of their health. They were so engulfed in what they did. I'll give you an example. This guy, Jay Dilla, he was a producer that used to make beats, and he was sick, but his whole, his whole focus was on the music, on making beats, and bad beats too, but his whole heart was into that. To where, I'm not sure exactly what he passed away from, but he had a sickness. So he devoted his time to his music instead of devoting some time to his health. So when you're too much into something, that can be detrimental to your health. So it's the same thing with the truth. If you're too much into something else, then the truth, that could be detrimental to your health. And that's where Jake finds himself at. So going back to Proverbs 1 and 23, turn you at my reproof. I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called and you refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. See, so how's the Lord stretching out his hand? By the prophets. That's why it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. But you have set at naught all my counsel and with none of my reproof. So every time the Lord brings out these scriptures out here through his prophets, you're not trying to hear nothing they say, no matter how they slice it up through the Spirit, no matter what scriptures they go to, no matter how plain they make it upon the table, no matter how easy to be understood they make it. You find an excuse for you find an excuse to bash down the reproof and the counsels of the Lord. So guess what? I also will laugh at your calamities, because you're laughing. Because when you're laughing at the prophets, you're really laughing at Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So when your calamities come upon you, when the Lord fully removes that hedge away from Jake and allows all hell to break loose on him, The Lord is going to be laughing at them. He's going to be laughing at your miseries that you're going through. It tells you, and even in the book of Psalms, the 2nd chapter, that the Lord's going to laugh at these devils, with their bullshit ass counsels. So it says, I will mock when your fear cometh. So the Most High is going to mock at you. Just like you mock his men, when you mocking his word, but you're really mocking him. When your fear comes upon you and you shitting on yourself and you have no hope, and you a man and you got your hands on your stomach like you a woman, crying and pleading and begging, the Most High is going to be mocking you, man. Because you mock the Lord, you mock the men of the Lord. And the Lord ain't going to protect you. He's going to take that hedge away from you. Serious times are coming, man. Serious times are coming. You ain't seen nothing yet. Right now that whole Ebola thing is out there. It's all over the place. They can't contain that shit, but they're keeping it under wraps. So that's all over the place. They had a couple of people that escaped the quarantine. I was watching, I believe it was Florida McKee. They escaped from this quarantine place to go somewhere to pray to this other place in Africa. And then as soon as they prayed, they dropped dead. So they were highly infectious. So you think that them people around that they were praying with are not going to get infected? Some of them going to get infected? So everything is out here. And the only way to escape any of this, all of these catastrophes and calamities, and the final calamity, which is a nuclear missile, is to be a part of the elect. And that's it. There's no other way. That's the only ticket. It says, verse 27, when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall you call upon me. See, now you're going to want to get it together. Now you want to be diligent. What they say, when Jake go to jail, that's when they want to search the Lord. Now they want to know about the Lord. Now they want to read the Bible. That's the only time Jake want to get close to the Lord, is when they're in a fucked up situation. I can't say it no plainer than that, man. When you find yourself in a fucked up situation, a life or death situation, a sickness situation, a matter of freedom, by being locked up, then you want to seek the Lord. It says, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. And it's going to be too late then. That's why it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. And that's what the name of this lesson is, Ahchyam. How did it go? Ahchyam. Get it while it's available. It says, then shall they seek me early, but shall not find me. See, the Lord ain't going to be found, because in that day the Lord is going to withdraw his presence from the majority of Israel. The only ones that his presence is going to be around is the elect, man. And that's a very small number in comparison to how large Israel is. It says, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. See, they didn't choose the fear of the Lord. They didn't say, well, you know what? I better get myself together. At least the Lord jacks me up. They didn't think like that. They're like, oh, these guys are crazy, man. I don't know about y'all, but I got things I got to do. I got to live my life. I'm living my best life. You brothers out there know. Y'all know the song, I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you scoffers, man. Salaki, brothers. Little levity in there, Let me read that again. It says, for that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel and despise all my reproof. See? So all the reproof that the Lord, the counsels and the reproof that the Lord put out there, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to get corrected. Hey, reproof is for correction, man. Reproof is for correction. So reproof being for correction means that you will consider what the Lord is saying, and get yourself together to the best of your ability. It says, therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way. That's it. And be filled with their own devices. You're going to be filled with your own devices, man. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them. Why? Because you're simple, right? The Lord saying, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? He's giving you an out. He's giving you the correction and the right way to go, but you don't want to hear. So guess what? The turning away of the simple shall slay them. I'm gonna get this other precept. Oh wow, it went, damn, almost went right to it. It says, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. Yeah, and that's why they teach in these churches, plantation Christianity churches, about this prosperity doctrine. And that's what Jake aspires to. Jake wants to go to church, right? And so-called get close to the Lord so that the Lord can bless him with a house, can bless him with cars and riches. They're not going there because they're trying to seek the Lord for salvation purposes. And a lot of these Israelites that know that they're Israelites, they're not seeking the Lord for salvation purposes. They're seeking the Lord for their own gain because they serve their own belly. They don't serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So these people in the churches, they're looking for that prosperity, and that's why they go to church, in the hopes that they can get the riches that the pastor got. You know? Be able to get a Bugatti and all the other expensive car, whatever the hell the name of them cars are today. You know, them different watches, the latest fashion. You know, that's what they go there for, and that whole plantation Christianity church, that's nothing but a big ass whorehouse. You know, it is a big ass whorehouse, and it's a fucking joke. It's a whorehouse and it's a concert hall. You know, like the elder Pastor Tara said, you throw a little Jesus and Christ in there and God, you know, but all that shit is nothing but the secular music. You know, that they have, you know, in these, that as they have, you know, no different than listening to Jay-Z or any of these modern day R&B groups today. It says, but whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely. See? Because why? The Lord is about to take his hedge. It's away from Jake out here. And shall be quiet from fear of evil. That's right. So now let's go from there to the book of 2 Thessalonians 2, and we can finish out here. I'll start at 8. Matter of fact, I started at 7. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Because back then, 2,000 years ago, the mystery of iniquity was working. Which was what? The Romans. Because they are the wicked. The devil. But the Lord said that he's going to let him go until the Lord be ready to take him out of the way. And now is the time for the Lord to take him out of the way. How do we know that? Well, let's read on. And then shall that wicked be revealed, because the wicked is going through a process of revealing. You know, fuck out of here. A process of revealing right now. They're being revealed. Right? It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. What is the spirit of the Lord's mouth? The words that are in this Bible. How are these words dispensed out there? Through the prophets. So what are the prophets doing? They're taking the words out of the Bible and the actions of Esau, the so-called white man, and exposing him. So that's the first step to bringing down the demise of this devil. That's why it says in the day when the Lord is going to deliver us from our captivity, that we shall take this parable in our mouth and say, how have the oppressors ceased, the golden city ceased. That's all a part of the demise of Esau, the so-called white man. It says, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Because after so much exposure, then comes the destruction. Because this Esau is already done for. He's already finished. He's done his job. Now it's time for him to go down. And he's going down. It says, even him who's coming is after the working of Satan. Because they do come after the working of Satan. Because the word Satan means what? Adversary. And if you look at everything that the so-called white man does, they're adverse to the Most High. Everything that they do goes against the Most High. It says, with all power and signs and lying wonders. And you have the power, signs, and lying wonders. You know, through the technology that these devils have. Through the deception that they've painted throughout out the world. Through deceiving the people, making believe that he's the Most High. He's Yahushai and the angels. And setting up his curriculum. And setting up his doctrines and philosophies as gospel. And having the world, you know, if the white men don't say it, then it ain't true. You know, being as simple as they want to be. You know, he has the power. He's the one that has done that. You white people done that. You done that. It's an inside joke. So it says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because the elect will not be deceived. Only the 2/3 will be deceived. That's why it says, and with all deceivableness, meaning 100%. So Esau's doing his job. Esau has 100% truth and wickedness, and they're pushing to the limit. It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth. So they didn't receive the love of the truth. This knowledge is the love of the truth. And the love of the truth can be hard sometimes. The love of the truth, when it corrects, is sharp. And being that we were brought up in this world, we were taught a different form of love. We were taught a form of love of touching, grabbing, hugging, kissing, you know. We weren't taught the true meaning of correction and love, you know, which is cursing somebody out in the hopes that they turn their life around, so to speak. That's true love. It says, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Because the salvation is coming through the engrafted word, which is able to save our souls. You see? So this knowledge here, you know, is what's going to save us. And the keeping of it. And this is why it's so important to keep it. Because there's all different types of pitfalls that the Lord spoke about. You know, how Jake was going to turn away from the truth and give heed to seducing spirits. And some of them same guys that turned the truth of the Lord into lasciviousness and turned the truth, you know, and corrupted the truth, they still use the names Yahweh and Yahushua. And I fully understand that scripture now. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom. Because if you're doing the work of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you will be delivered. The Lord said he's not unrighteous to forget our deeds and our works in love. That we labor and do labor, you know. And it's a labor of love. There's no other feeling like it, man. There's nothing else that compares to being teaching the word of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and be locked in the spirit, man. It's a high, you know. It's an addiction. And you find yourself constantly chasing that addiction. Just like a fiend chases after that lean, or after the inside joke of the lean part, or that opioid, whether it be a pill or whether it be heroin, you know, some type of high, whether it be get drunk. This is the ultimate addiction. This is why it's called an opiate. And Dr. Rabbi Antelman, he wrote a book in 2 volumes called something of the I forget the rest of it. It just came to mind, but I know the word opiate is in there, you know, because religion is an opiate, you know, but this truth has to be an addiction for us. It says, and for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. And that's why they won't come to the truth, because the Lord put a spirit of delusion upon them. He chose Jake's delusions. It says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth. See, so if you don't believe the truth, you will be damned. You will be condemned. But had pleasure in unrighteousness. So, but we are bound to give thanks always to the Most High for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord. Because and how are we, brethren, beloved of the Lord? Because the Lord had mercy upon us to reveal to us, and for it to be revealed, and for us to accept this truth. You know? That is a great honor, man. Out of all the billions of Israelites that are out here, you know, hundreds of thousands and millions of Israelites, possibly billions, you know, because the population of the earth is over 7.5 billion people. The Lord chose us to give us this, and we're hoping that we be the chosen. It says, but we are bound to give thanks always to the Most High for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because the Most High hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. And that's how simple it is. Through the belief of this truth is where salvation comes. But that belief is a gift of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. It's not something you can attain. It's not something you can buy. It's not something that you can study for. It's either in you or it's not. That's why the Apostle Peter said, give diligence to make your calling and election sure, because we know we've been called and we're hoping that we've been elected. So to make our calling and election sure, we do the work. We give diligence. It says, whereunto he called you by our gospel. See? So you brothers out there, as well as us, we were called by this gospel. It says, to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach. Because the world is not obtaining the glory of the true Messiah, Yahushua. They're receiving the other Jesus, the other white meat. When they speak about God and they speak about the Heavenly Father's Son, which they call Jesus, they're talking about a different gospel. They're talking about a different way of serving the Lord, which they can't serve the Lord that way. It says, therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the traditions which you have been taught, whether by word or our epistle, because this is why, we brothers in Great Millstone, beginning with the apostles and elders, we get so zealous and jealous and angry when something is awry or something's wrong, because there's a proper way to keep the truth. It says, now our Lord Yahushua himself and the Most High, even our Father, which hath loved us and hath given us everlasting consolation and a good hope through grace, comfort your hearts and establish you in every good word and work. And that's what we hope for, that the Lord comfort our hearts and establish us in every good word and work. Because that is, by the keeping of this word, blessed is that servant whom when the Lord cometh findeth so doing. Doing what? Doing this work. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. They're putting those restrictions on YouTube because the Lord is slowly but surely withdrawing his word. And eventually, as the Spirit had me say a few times in this lesson, the Lord is going to fully remove that hedge from Jake out here, man. Playtime is going to be over. No more folly. These simpletons out here that love that simplicity, they're going to be taken in their own foolishness. So with that, I pray that you brothers and you few sisters that do still watch have been edified. Until the next time I say, Shalom.